back to On Wrestling. I'm Adam. So this week we're going to look at Collision and Dynamite. So we're going to look at Andrade's Aura match. We're going to look at a CMLL World Heavyweight fight there between Claudio and Roderick Strong. And on Dynamite, we've got some exciting stuff to talk about there with multiple championship fights. So if you could like, share, and subscribe. This week we also had Match Review Monday, where we looked at the IWGP Women's Championship match there between Suri and Alex Windsor. And we also launched a new series this week, which was All Elite Crate. We looked at Elite Unboxing. So that's the new series. So you also check that video out. You can also follow us on the socials. Otherwise, let's get into the Collision review. To kick off Collision this week, we had Hangman Adam Page versus Katsuyori Shibata. So this match started off on the outside, and one thing we know with these two, we're going to see lots of chops. We're going to see lots of striking. I quite enjoyed Shibata's knee breaker on the outside, and then how Shibata got into working Hangman's knee over the match. Some really nice corner-to-corner work there. And I did quite enjoy when they had the elbow strike to take them both out. We saw a dead eye on the apron, which then led into the Orihora moonsault. I also liked how Shibata used the leg trip counter to the buckshot as well, something I don't think we've seen before. And ultimately here we did see Hangman getting the win with the buckshot lariat, but this was a good start to Collision this week. I feel like Collision was bookended this week by two good matches. So that's what I thought of the first match. If we move now on to the AEW Women's World Title Eliminator match, and that was between Chris Statlander, the champion, versus Isla Dawn. So I did enjoy the opening back and forth between the two. Statlander had a really nice missile drop kick off the top rope. And ultimately, we did see Statlander get the win here. So Statlander with the win, moving towards Revolution now with Stat. We will talk about Statlander and Tekla's match on the Dynamite portion of the weekly review. I've got lots of things to say about that one, which I'm excited to talk about. So we'll check that out in the Dynamite review. So the next match we had here was a tag team match between Proto Shida, that being Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher, and that was versus the Guns, as in Austin Gunn and Billy Gunn, a combination that we have not seen for a while. So we did get the Bang Bang Gang entrance here, but sadly it's only with Austin, and I do love that entrance, but it does make me sad just to see him on his own. So whenever that is, when all four of them originals get back together, that's going to be great. Miss Jay White and Juice Robinson, I love watching. It's good fun, and I thought the Guns together were looking really good before Colton got injured. So them coming back there. So we were supposed to have Ace Austin in this match, but we didn't have him due to travel issues. But the Austin we did get in this match is Austin Gunn. I did actually really enjoy their work in this match. I thought they showed great speed and purpose in this match. That Takeshita elbow strike in this match was great. And in the end, we did see a great combination for Proto Shida to get the win with the Raging Fire by Takeshita. So the next match we had was the tag team match between Davis and Doyle, and they were up against the Buster and the Brain as in Alec Price and Jordan Oliver. So in this match, I did really enjoy how Davis and Doyle threw Jordan Oliver and Alec Price at each other. I think that was on the outside. That was really good. And we did see some nice offense here by Alec Price with a nice drop kick and a neck breaker as well. Good combination there. We did see some really good throws too in the inside and the outside. Ultimately, we did see Davis and Doyle get the win here, and that was leading into their match we'll discuss in the Dynamite review between them and FDR. So the fifth match for Collision this week was the TBS title match, and that being Willow Nightingale as the champion. Who, if you did watch our unboxing match, Willow was actually her signature was included in the crate this time for the Revolution 2026 crate. So I'm very excited to have her autograph now as part of my collection. I had seen this match. Things that I did enjoy was Hurricane Rana by Julia. I quite enjoyed that. And that was followed up by Willow performing a nice drop kick. We did see a little bit of Sky and Harley on the outside there. Um, and I did really enjoy how Willow did a carried and slammed Julia on the outside. One thing I do like about Julia Hart is she does have a nice octopus stretch, and we saw that in this match. But ultimately, again, Willow got the win here with the Babe with the power bomb and retains her TBS championship. So the sixth match this week on Collision was Andrade El Idolo versus Magnus from CMLL. So I've seen this described as Andrade's aura match. We did see him with encouragement from the crowd, taking off his shirt. Eventually, his pants came off as well, which, he still had his trunks and knee pads underneath. And then we saw something new with him giving his number to someone in the crowd, which we'll also discuss in the Dynamite review against his match with Swerve. So definitely big aura there for Andrade, which we are here for. I always enjoy watching him do his Three Amigos, and anytime he does anything like with knees in the corner and things like that. I did enjoy when we finally got to see Magnus show off his speed in this match. But in the end, Andrade was toying around with the pin, but he did hit the DM for the win, which was a warm up there for his match with Swerve. And then the main event for Collision this week, which is probably my favorite match for Collision this week, was the CMLL World Heavyweight Championship. So I did enjoy the fact that they included a traditional photo with the competitors and their entourage at the start, and included Tony Khan there presenting the belt. We also saw Mox on commentary. So it did open with Claudio attacking Roderick Strong. And I did enjoy the chops in this match. There was a lot of chops in this match, which is my favorite kind of style. And we did see Claudio working the knee there of Roderick. And that included performing holds, inside and outside the ring, slamming the knee. So I did enjoy the knee work there in this match. I also enjoyed the part where Claudio caught Roderick Strong and then he turned that into the giant swing. And then that then transitioned into the single leg grab, which I thought was a really nice sequence there. We did see Yuta on the outside being, the healer shooter that he is, working Roderick Strong's leg. And then we did see Orange get involved, hitting the punch. But then Claudio would then eventually take him out. We saw Roderick Strong trying to come back there with some really nice knee strikes. This is one of my favorite features of his. But ultimately, we did see Claudio retain with the neutralizer there. So that was Collision for this week. I thought it was bookended well by the Hangman and Shibata match, and then by the CMLL World Heavyweight match. So let me know what your thoughts on Collision, and we will now jump into the Dynamite review. Okay, so to kick off Dynamite, and I really enjoyed Dynamite this week, we had Kenny Omega versus Rocky Romero. So with this one here, we had Kenny kicking it off with his entrance. Now he moved with great purpose in this match. I thought I did really enjoy the bit where Rocky was celebrating in the corner to the camera, and then Kenny just came through with his knee and just went bang. Basically took him out. And I've seen a few memes on social media since then, and that was really great. So ultimately here we did see Kenny get the win with the one-winged angel, and Kenny then led to a promo with Hangman and Swerve involved too. So there's a lot happening there heading towards Revolution and who is the number one contender. Okay, so match 2 followed up by that was the AEW Continental Title Eliminator match, and that was between John Moxley and Ace Austin. So I have seen Ace Austin live before on a World Series Wrestling show, and I really, really enjoyed seeing him live. I think his moveset is really, really great, really enjoyable to watch, especially live. So the things I enjoyed in this match was the chops, of course, and some of the striking. Ace Austin has a really nice kick. I really enjoy his work with his kicks. And I really enjoyed what he was doing in the corner there before Mox countered with a lariat. And you did see in this match that Ace Austin was winning over the crowd, and we did get some dueling chants for Mox and Ace. Um, Again, Mox here will get. Ultimately, Mox got the win here via the Death Rider. Um, but I really enjoyed this match, and I thought it was a really good eliminator match. And I hope we can see Ace Austin again in those sort of eliminators or national title. And I have seen his work recently in Ring of Honor too, which I thought was quite good. After the match, we also had Takeshita come down and go face to face with Mox. And that's sort of continuing the Death Rider and Don Callis family feud. And Davis and Doyle came from behind there to attack Takeshita. The next match for Dynamite this week was was the first of the title fights for tonight, and that was the AEW TNT title, and that was between Mark Briscoe and Al Clone. So in this one here, I really did enjoy El Clone's elbow strike, followed by the overhead chop. We saw some good stuff from Mark Briscoe on the outside with some chops, and I really thought their chemistry was really good between the two. The way that we saw El Clone kick out of the Froggy Bow, and then also did a counter there with Jay Driller as well, something different, the way that he approaches and the way he's able to use his upper body strength to counter out of that. I thought was quite good and innovative. We also did see in the end, Mark Briscoe countered the hollow bomb there, which we had not seen to date because with all of our clones matches so far, he'd won. And then he did win via the roll up there. So I did enjoy this TNT title match. I'd like to see more of Alcon in these sort of matches, and I was thinking he would win this one. But with what happened after the match there, with the calling out of who's going to take on Mark Briscoe on the next collision, we did see the debut of Tommaso Ciampa, which is someone who I've enjoyed their work in Black and Gold NXT, which is my favorite NXT that I watched. When I got back into watching wrestling, that was probably my favorite show of WWE's, the Black and Gold era there, and something I watched pretty regularly. So Ciampa is someone who I'm pretty fond of, especially his work with Gargano. So I'm thinking we'll talk about that in a preview at the end of the video, but I think that could be quite a good match, and I think the result there will be quite interesting. All right, so moving on to the next title fight for Dynamite, which was the Women's World title match between Chris Statlander and Tekla. So what I enjoyed in this match was we saw Statlander with a really nice drop leg guillotine on the outside, delayed vertical suplex. But I did think that Tekla did get some really good offense on the outside. I did enjoy how Tekla uses the lock there with the ropes, but then Stat was able to counter that with a really good corner throw. So you sort of see the difference there. I think Tekla's got really great technical and speed, where you see Statlander with that real power game. We did see a really nice running lariat from Statlander. Tekla with a really nice elbow strike into the spider suplex. And we also saw her jump from the turnbuckle to the outside. We did see a really good Tekla spear followed by a really great submission. And one thing I didn't note about that was how she attacked Statlander's arm. Again, ultimately, we did see Statlander win with the gut-wrench power bomb into the Wednesday Night Fever. This was a really good match for me. I really enjoyed both their work. I think they've got great chemistry between them. I don't know if this is over between them yet. I do think there's more to be played out here, whether this is, for now or after down the track this year, whether we go into a series of matches with them. But I think these two could have some really great matches between them. One thing to note at the end there, we did see Megan Bain and Penelope Ford come out to a stare down, and that included Statlander, Willow, and Harley Cameron in the ring. So whether that now means Megan Bain is potentially going after the world title, leading to Revolution, or is that potentially looking at Willow for the TBS, or is the combo there of Megan Bain and Penelope Ford looking at the women's tag title? So left us with some questions there, which is a good thing. And I'm really keen to see which path we go down there. But I would really be interested in a Megan Bain Statlander title match at Revolution. Then the fifth match for Dynamite this week was the World Tag Team title match, and that was between FDR, and as we know, that's Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, and they took on Davis and Doyle, as in Jake Doyle and Mark Davis. So I really enjoyed the opener there with Doyle's shoulder and body blocks. And when we got into Davis versus Dax chops, that is what I was looking forward to with this. I did say in the preview I wanted to see some strikes, I wanted to see some chops and some power bombs. And result of that, back and forth, we did actually see Dax's chest start to bleed. And also this match, I did enjoy the part where Cash was thrown on the outside. And then there was a really good bit there too, which was more chops, where Davis and Dax were locked into each other and hold their wrists, and they were chopping back and forth. That's sort of the stuff I really enjoy. Also enjoyed the suplex in this match into the splash by FDR. Unfortunately, at this point, it looked like Doyle had injured his arm, which is really unfortunate because I've really started to enjoy the work there of Jake Doyle and his AEW short run so far. And I hope it's not too long before we get to see him again. One thing to note, we did mention the Death Rider and Don Callis family feud that is starting to bubble up and boil. We did see Mox hit Davis with the belt, which then did lead into FDR hitting the Shatter Machine to get the win. So maybe that'll lead down to another Continental Classic Eliminator match, maybe between Mox and Davis. We'll see where that goes as well, with the other members of the Don Callis family eyeing off that title, especially Takeshita. Now, the main event for Dynamite this week was Andrade El Idolo and Swerve Strickland. Something, once I saw that it was announced, I was really excited to see. So I did enjoy the opening back and forth, and especially how Swerve went for the house call early, just sort of showing his showing how desperate he was from the start to get the winning blow, and to sort of show Andrade who he is. I did enjoy the Hurricanrana by Andrade there, and we did see another bit there with a girl in the crowd, different independent wrestler this time. So I'm enjoying that as his aura matches are kicking off here, and when we see Andrade had some nice chops in the corner there, we saw a nice Death Valley driver on the outside by Swerve, and then Andrade did drop Swerve on the barricade, so we had some nice back and forth there on the outside. I did really enjoy the instinctive house call by Swerve on Andrade when Andrade was building up to hit those knees in the corner, because we know those knees are a really great strike. And when we get that Kenny Omega Andrade match, I think that's going to be really, really good between the two of them. We did see the big pressure reversal into a roll up. And just before that, I really enjoyed the big runner by Andrade into the knees. The big pressure was countered, and Andrade used the ref to kick Swerve, which then led into the DM for the win. So I really, really enjoyed this match. I hope everyone enjoyed it too. Let me know what you thought. That was a great main event. Overall, I really did enjoy Dynamite for this week, and I'd love to know your thoughts. And now we can get into the preview. Viewing next week's matches, so Collision, which is coming up pretty soon after this comes out, we've got Darby Allin versus Clark Connors on Collision. We're also going to see Crew, and that is Action Andrade and Leo Rush, and they will be wrestling against a debuting Rascals, and that combination will be Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz. So very excited to see the Rascals in the ring. I have seen them previously in TNA and NXT as a tag team, so looking forward to seeing what they do in AEW. And we will also see another tag team match, and that will be the Women's World Tag Team title match between the Babes of Wrath, that being Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale, versus the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue. Interesting with this one, I thought maybe that might be the Revolution match, so we'll see where that one goes. And then we will see the TNT title match between Mark Briscoe and a in-ring debut from Tommaso Ciampa in AEW, and I'm very interested in that one. I do think that will main event, and I do think we'll see a title change there with Tommaso Ciampa winning that TNT title in his first match in AEW. Moving on to Dynamite, we have got Kenny Omega versus Andrade El Idolo, and I think that will probably be the main event leading into Dynamite there. I think that's going to be great. It's something that I thought about for a while would be a really great match to see. And that also has ramifications leading to Revolution for the world title match with MJF. We will see that AEW national title match between Ricochet and Jack Perry, something that he won the number one contendership for a couple of weeks ago. And I did query when that was going to be. So that's good that we've got confirmation of that now. I do think we may see a Jack Perry win here, just with the way that the Demand attacked Jack. So I am thinking maybe he might get the win, and I would like to see the Demand maybe move on to the trios titles and actually win them. Maybe that would be a match at Revolution, which I would quite enjoy. And we've got the AEW World Title Eliminator match between MJF and Brody King. I do think we might see Brody King win here, and we'll have that match here in Australia at the match in Sydney, at the event in Sydney. That would be really interesting. I think that's what we'll see, and then MJF will win, and then move on to Revolution from there. So that's just my thoughts on the preview for the next two episodes that we'll review as the weekly. So on the channel, you can check out Match Review Monday as well. And we just put up a new series around unboxing. So we'll do the 4 All Elite crates over the year, and really looking forward to see what items we get there. But otherwise, thanks for joining us today, and we'll catch you in the next one.